everybody. I'm your host, Habiba Yassin.
And I'm your host, Kesey Wilson. And
welcome to Hot Topic. Today's discussion, we're going to introduce our show, Hot Topic, and let you all know what we're talking about on our show. We're going to have some great discussions about relationships, economic development. We'll be talking about what's going on in current events. We will also be speaking about gun violence and different things that's going on in our communities and issues that we have, even with mental health.
And don't be afraid to write us, let us know, hit something in the inbox and let us know what you might want your topic to be. We will also give our audience a chance to put your input into the show, and we'll discuss things that you're interested in as well on our show, Hot Topic.
We will also be having other people's brands on here where we will promote businesses, and we will also be into a lot of community development as well. And today we're going to be talking about relationships, situationships, being a narcissist or a people pleaser. Let's see what's going on with the world and how we are feeling about those different situations today. Kesey, what's going on with you today?
Well, I feel like, in relationships, it's a lot that people go through. The main thing with me is I feel now with social media, there are a lot of people that bash the opposite sex. Like, you see men, they on there, they bashing women, and women are bashing men. But in my opinion, and when you get into a relationship, a person can only do what you allow them to do to you.
That's correct. And I feel like that's the same thing. Like, nobody's going to do nothing to me that I don't want them to do. And I feel like I am a people pleaser. And in relationships, sometimes, in all of my relationships, I'm not talking about sexual relationships only. I'm talking about all relationships. Family, friends, working with people, different things. It's like I'm a people pleaser, and I'm really... At the age of 42, I just realized that I need to learn how to say no. And saying no, sometimes, it's hurtful on the inside, but you have to learn how to say no, because if not, people will run over you, take your kindness for weakness all the time. And I just feel like I'm done with it. I'm not ever letting anyone run over top of me again, not one more day in my life. Now, Kesey, on the other hand, is a narcissist. Now, let's see what's going on with how she feel about relationships and being a narcissist, because she taking over people's lives.
I'm not really taking over people's lives, but my issue that I really have in relationships, and I've been told by my fiance and others that I dated in the past, that I'm very unconnected when it comes to emotions. I don't really let my emotions take over me, and sometimes I don't really consider other people's feelings and emotions. So, I'm not the type of person that you can walk over. And in relationships, sometimes I could be stubborn and hard and think that I know everything when I really don't. And sometimes it's hard to admit when I'm wrong. But the one thing that I can say is that I've grown and tried to take those feelings into consideration now, especially because I'm with someone that I'm trying to spend the rest of my life with. But in the past, I have run over a lot of people because of the fact that I'm a strong, dominant woman, and it really does take a strong, dominant man for me to have respect for them, because if I realize or I see a weakness in a man, I'm going to definitely take advantage of it and walk over top of him. And that's just how I am, because I'm strong. I can't respect anybody that's weaker than me.
I feel you. But being a people pleaser, that doesn't mean that you're weaker than someone. It means that you just don't like hurting people's feelings or saying no, because you don't like somebody to hurt your feelings, or you don't like someone to tell you no. Because I know when someone tells me no, my feelings and stuff be crushed. But I will give. But at this point, the giving is over.
But see, to
me, why didn't it strike me like this at this time in my life?
I wish it would have struck you maybe a few years earlier. Maybe you needed to have a friend like me, because I would have really knocked that out. Yeah, whoever you was dating would have never wanted you to hang out with me, because I'm never gonna let anybody run over any one of my friends. And you know, as
Well, I'm
you
not
say,
even talking about in those type of dating relationships. I'm talking about in all aspects of life. I'm talking about with all people.
but the thing about it is, I do see a person that can't tell people no as a sign of weakness. Because, you know, I've had an example of that in my life here recently during this week where, you know, I've had a friend and they were too afraid to tell me no that they couldn't do something. And instead of them telling me no, they just didn't show up.
Oh.
And with me, I feel like you can tell me no. If you can't do it, I'd rather you say no than try to do it and don't do it. Because I'm more about when people have to stick to their word.
Right.
You know, and the thing about telling people no and hearing no, that's not a bad thing. You hear no a lot in your life. No makes you stronger. Because you might get one no or 100 no's, but you'll get that one yes.
Right.
It makes you strive for more.
Right.
It makes you want to do more. And you know, trying to please everybody, that can be more hurtful to yourself than to others, because you feel like a failure when you can't do the things that you want to do because you're trying to please somebody else. And it hurts you to say no because you're trying to please people.
Yeah, but I really don't think that it resonates with me personally like that, because it's not in all situations that I don't know how to say no. Like if somebody come up to me and be like, Habiba, da, 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 can't you do this? I can say, no, I can't do that. But I'm talking about like certain people. It's certain people, like people that I feel like that's close to me or something like that. I want to make sure that I can make them not happy, because happiness comes from within, but I want to make sure that I can just be there for them, because that's the type of person that I am. I was raised to keep my word, and I'm a loyal person. I feel like loyalty goes a long way. I ain't talking about with a regular person on the street. I'm talking about in relationships with different people. I'm not only with a man, but even with family, friends, not even really associates, because I can tell them no. I'm talking about people that's dear to me. That's when I have the issue with being a people pleaser, because in the real world, I'm not a people pleaser, because I'm doing me in the real world, but I'm talking about when it comes to me in personal relationships. That's something different. I ain't talking about.
You really done struck on something else when you brought in the word loyalty, because, you know, I don't know, you know, for a lot of years I had that mentality as well, you know, trying to do a lot, helping a lot of people, but that loyalty, when it doesn't resonate back, you're going above and beyond for people that wouldn't go above and beyond for you. And that happens a lot of times.
Right.
So that's definitely what hardens me and have me saying no.
And that's what turned me over when I turned 42. It struck in my head. Fuck these motherfuckers. I don't care. I'm not people pleasing no more. I'm going to do what makes me happy, and that's on period.
Well, come on over to the narcissist side. It's not that bad.
All right. Yeah.
So no, we need to blend together. Maybe I can soften up some with your help, and you can take a little bit of these narcissistic qualities and give it to them.
Yeah, I can give it to them raw. Yeah. That's when people don't like me, when I give it to them raw. Because they used to me saying, okay. But then when I turn into Habiba, the business professional, then I'm the bad guy. Yeah. They don't like that.
I think it's hilarious, because in my lifetime, I've been so mean that people actually think I be joking. I be dead serious.
Well, at this point in my life, I'm not going to be mean, but I'm going to be very assertive, and they can take it however they want, and that's it.
Hey, when you're a man and you're assertive, you're powerful. When you're a woman and you're assertive, they call you a bitch. But, you know, like I said, a little bit of each thing, it won't kill anybody. Sometimes you have to be strong and be hard, and sometimes you have to be soft. Just try to treat people the way you want to be treated.
That's it. Welcome back to our show Hot Topic, and we are now going to be discussing some of the current events that happened in Roanoke, Virginia over the past few days. We had the pleasure of attending the Black Agenda conference that they had on last Thursday evening with, they had a panelist of entrepreneurs in our community. I think his name was Anthony Smith. He was the head person on this. Reverend Mayo, they used his church, Paradise Cathedral. There was Anthony Preston, excuse me. There was also Alicia Mercher. She was there for the real estate department. And then there was Rita Joyce. She was there for real estate as well, right? And all of the councilmen, the new city councilmen that's up for election right now, they were also in attendance at the meeting. And I just want to give all those guys a shout out because it was an amazing event to be able to be a part of and to actually voice our concerns over the weekend about what's going on in our community. We have several issues that is really arising, and there's a bad epidemic of young black males being murdered, and their homicides aren't even being recognized or even being solved because it seems like that they don't even care. The Roanoke City police chief, it seems like he don't care because he's not commenting. I have people that have tried to have interviews with him, and they always say that everything that he says is very scripted. I just haven't seen the involvement, especially in the community side, because I haven't seen anyone out here walking door to door just to figure out what's going on in our communities with gun violence, these young homicides, young guys going to jail. They're ruining the rest of their lives, and we don't know if they have mental illness problems. It's so many different concerns that we have, but being a part of that event of the other day was just an amazing experience for me. Can you let us know how you feel about that?
That event was one of the first events that I ever been to down here that I thought was really powerful. It was really powerful because they're trying to create committees to attack these issues that we're having concerning the black community. And, we are definitely telling the community that it's no need to keep crying about it or saying things about it and you're not trying to be a part of the solution. We're trying to create some solutions so that we can have our community thrive, so that we can lower the gun and violence rate in our community when it comes to our children. As parents, it really is something that we have to stand up on and stand behind because we do have young black children. We don't want our children to be statistics. We don't want our children to be the one that's murdered or the one that's doing the murder. It's time for us to yank back the community and get these kids into things that will help them, that will definitely get them on a different page and show them that you can be successful without being in the streets all the time. There are successful black women and men who are entrepreneurs, who are just 9-to-5 workers, but we still are successful. We make more money than the person that you might be looking up to in the streets. That you can be on. There's nothing wrong with being on the straight and narrow. There's nothing wrong with being educated. And that's the problem that a lot of young children have, that they're afraid to be the nerd. I teach my children all the time, there's no reason to be afraid to be smart or ashamed of being smart, because you need that. Whether you like sports or whatever the case may be, you still have to fall back on your education. If you blow your knee out, you need to have something up here in order for you to be able to survive. And we want to change the way that we are looked at as a community. And we always look down upon,
right.
Look as if we're just enraged all the time or always in poverty. The thing that really kills me about our race is that you see other races thrive. They help each other. They all live in the same house. They help leave a legacy behind. We want to start doing that as black people. We want to start leaving our children a legacy, so when we leave this earth, they have generational wealth. So we don't just leave them out here stuck. That's one of the main things that I'm afraid of as a parent.